2-1, we bring in our soccer expert from Battered Herons podcast, Daniel Solana. First things first, Daniel Solana, how you doing, man?
I know, right? So it's been a long time since we've seen Mr. Solana.
It has been a minute, fellas. It has been a minute, but that's what happens on summer break, right? People have kids, people go on vacation, and yeah, man, I've been pretty busy covering the Club World Cup for a couple of different outlets, and it's been a heck of a month.
We're going to get to the Club World Cup because I'm really stoked up about this, especially Chelsea and PSG, two really good stories, or at least interesting stories, depending on what you say in soccer. But Lionel Messi, we were asking a couple of weeks ago, what's going on? Is he checked out? Is he going to go somewhere else? Now, all of a sudden, he looks like a world beater. What is happening, Daniel Solana? What's flipped the switch for Lionel Messi?
Well, let's talk about the team, right? The team over the last month and change has been on an absolute tear. 5 wins in a row, unbeaten in their last 6 in MLS. And this team is really hitting a stretch that feels a lot like last summer's run, right? The main difference in this summer versus last summer is Lionel Messi is at the center of it all. Last summer, if you remember, he was injured. There was things going on, and it was Suarez that was putting the team on his back and carrying them during this rough stretch. Now it's Messi who's taken over, commanding the game, elevating everyone around him, and rewriting the record books, just like you said, Dan, having 5 straight games where he scored 2 or more goals. It's an MLS record before. It's never been done in MLS. And really what we're witnessing is just greatness, right? It's plain and simple. Inter Miami is just finding their form. They're building momentum, and the league really should be on notice because it's about to start getting scary.
I was going to ask, are they, again, the best team in MLS at this time?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, by the way they're playing, absolutely. Obviously, the points don't show that because they have a couple games in hand. They're in 6th place in the Supporters' Shield, but I believe only 5 points back from who's in first place. So they have a few games in hand still, and they have a tough stretch coming up over the next 3 to 4 weeks where they play a game every 3 to 4 days, especially with Leagues Cup coming up now at the beginning of August. But no doubt that they're the best team in MLS today. Not even talking about just the players, just the way that they're playing. They beat the team who was unbeaten in their last 15 in all competitions in Nashville. Not only did they beat them, but they handled them pretty well yesterday. In my opinion, it was one of Inter Miami's better games. I know some of the fans might not agree, but at the end of the day, what's important is getting the 3 points and continuing to make history. And that's exactly what this team is doing.
I'm not impressed. I'm sorry. I'm not. What he's doing is impressive stuff, but I'm just, from what I was told, the minute we got number 10 in the pink and black uniform, is that this team is going to be better than just MLS. This team is going to be the team that can compete against some of the best club teams in the world. And they had their opportunity to do that, and they got their ass kicked. And so you can come back to MLS and do well, and I expect you to, that you're expected to do that. But when you had a chance and the opportunity from what the team, this is what the team was saying. You understand what I'm saying? This is why I'm going about what the team. We want to be one of the best club teams in the world where people would love to face Inter Miami or be afraid to face Inter Miami because we're a prominent team. And when they had tournaments or gone against other quality of the club teams, they haven't performed. So, yes, doing that against MLS, it's impressive. I expect that, but you kind of expect that from this team.
I disagree, Vlad. I disagree. I think Inter Miami's run at the Club World Cup was nothing short of historic. A team who has a salary cap of $5.5 million facing teams that have no salary caps that are allowed to bring any player that they want. Remember, they became the first American team to ever beat a European side in an official international competition, taking down Porto 2-1 in Atlanta, a game that I was lucky enough to be there covering. And then they advanced from the group stage, nearly finishing in first place. And that's not something that you can take away from them. I mean, they were 10 minutes away from beating Palmeiras, one of the top teams in Brazil, finishing first in their group and going to face Botafogo. Instead, because of the salary cap, because of the issues of not having the depth that some of these other teams had, they fell short against Palmeiras. They tied, and because of that, they had to face PSG. But I mean, let's be real, guys. Once they face PSG is on another level. I mean, it was a different thing. Inter Miami really got a taste of what it means to go up against some of the best teams in the world, like you mentioned, Vlad. And they got swept off the field. That's the truth. They got swept off the field. Although that happened. I still think this run that they had in the Club World Cup showed progress. It showed potential, and it showed that if the league, and I'll get into that in a little bit, if the league is willing to take back on some of the restrictions that they have regarding salary cap, regarding some of the players, it's really starting to show that the gap could start to close sooner rather than later. And it's really something to build on, right? And this is not just for Inter Miami. This is for the entire league. You had Seattle in the Club World Cup. They played a couple of good games. They scored a couple of good goals. They played against PSG. They only lost 2-0. They played against Atletico de Madrid. They had a good game against them. LAFC played Chelsea, didn't do well, then lost against Ulsan, and then ultimately had an okay third game in their group stage. But look, I don't think that the gap is as big as everybody says. I think what the league needs to do is tinker with some of the rules a little bit, and then you'll see these teams start to become on par with some of the rest of the world.
Yeah, I would really look forward to MLS possibly doing some tweaks and some altering to the salary cap and some of their ways they try to keep equality, because it would elevate them on the national stage. And I do want to talk about the national stage because one of the biggest games in the world all year long is going to be happening today in New Jersey. Of course, talking about my guys, Chelsea versus PSG. What can we expect from this monster matchup where the winner stands to take home $125 million?
You stand to see Chelsea get their ass kicked.
That's what I was going to say, but I didn't know that you were a Chelsea fan, Dan. I didn't know that you were a Blues fan. I have a couple of other friends in some group chats that are Blues fans as well, and we've been railing on them all week. We've been railing on them all week. And let's be honest, today's final is PSG's to lose, right, guys? Chelsea had a relatively smooth path to the final. They haven't really been truly tested yet. No disrespect to them, right? No disrespect to them or any of the teams that they've played, but none of them are even close to the level that PSG has been showing over the last few months. And this is going to be Chelsea's first real challenge of the tournament. I just don't see it going well for them. I don't see it going well for you, Dan, unfortunately.
I'll be honest.
Dude, is this scary? This PSG team, is this like the scariest you've seen a team? And what can it's almost like they're OKC Thunder in a way in the NBA, where you're like, oh wow, we're about to see a dominance that's going to happen maybe for another good 4 or 5 years. The way they've changed from being a team that was trying to get every superstar and try to form a superstorm team to now they develop, they trained, they got a team. It's not a team of individuals, it's an actual team. And to me, they're scary. And to what they've done over the last 3-4 months, maybe the greatest thing I've seen a club team do in a long time. They're about
maybe since Barcelona.
Maybe since Barcelona. Yes.
That was one of the more dominant teams, the one that won the treble back in 2012, I believe. That was one of the most dominant teams that I had seen, and there's no doubt that PSG is on that level. And look, who's their coach? A former Barcelona player, a former Barcelona coach, and Luis Enrique, who has shown that he is at the level of coaching as some of the other best coaches like Pep Guardiola, like Carlo Ancelotti, and that's what he's shown with this team.
I want to get about to some of the international soccer. Of course, I was locked in on the Gold Cup like most of American soccer fans would be. We played our quote-unquote B team. I was very proud of this team. I was very excited. I wanted to ask you this. Is this the way that Team USA wants to play now that they got Pochetta as the head coach? Is he starting to implement, even though he didn't really have all of his guys? Or was it because these were lower tier guys that were really just playing really hard because they wanted to make the team? They did eventually lose to Mexico in the final of the Gold Cup.
Yeah, look, when it comes to the U.S. men's national team, I mean, it was a big letdown that some of these big players decided not to come, decided to take a vacation, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. You don't see players from Argentina, you don't see players from other national teams take vacations when they have technically one of the more important tournaments, even though a lot of folks say that the Gold Cup is not that important anymore, but it is probably the premier tournament in CONCACAF, right? For national teams. It is one of the bigger tournaments. Obviously, Nations League has taken over a little bit, or Nations Cup. I forget. I always get it mixed up with the European, but obviously, it's taken over a little bit with the prize money and all that. But definitely, it's a shame to see that these players didn't show up. And look, I thought, The USA played an okay tournament. They didn't play against any powerhouse teams. They had a scare there against Guatemala where they only won 2-1. And Guatemala was attacking them the last 30 minutes, and it could have ended differently. But look, they're not at the level of what Mexico took, although both teams, Mexico and the U.S., are just not at the level that they once were maybe 4-8 years ago. It's just not the same. And again, I think it goes back to the way that the MLS is run, the way that these rules aren't put in place, the way that these that they have all these TAM, GAM, all these restrictions, I think is what's hurting the U.S. men's national team, because we don't get good enough players to come play in our domestic league and challenge the players that are playing in the domestic league. Most of the players who come to the national team are players that are playing overseas. And what we need is for the players that are playing in the domestic league to start stepping up and getting better so that they can be transferred over to Europe. And they're not just doing that playing against average talent here in the MLS.
Got to talk about the CONMEBOL Copa America Femenina. I watched Uruguay and Ecuador. What happened? Uruguay seemed like they were coasting, and all of a sudden it ended in a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, man. I mean, Uruguay's women's team is not what the men's team is, unfortunately. They have a few really good players, but they're just not where the men's team is at historically, not even presently. Ecuador has an interesting team, but the teams to look out for here are Colombia. Colombia has a really good women's team. Argentina could maybe do a little bit. And obviously Brazil, right? Brazil, we know from their history with Marta and other great players. They're the force to be reckoned with in South American women's soccer. But like I said, watch out with Colombia. They've done really good in the last World Cup, and they could be another force to be reckoned with here in South America in women's football.
Are you watching the Euro Women's Cup too?
No, I haven't gotten to see any other women's Euro games.
You got to watch Sweden.
Sweden's great.
Sweden's great.
They're great in terms of the way that they play, or they're great because the talent on the field looks fantastic.
Their tactics, their astics. Yeah, I mean, however you want to look at it. Yeah, Sweden's a good team to watch.
I'll see if I can catch them. I'll look up to see when their next game and see if I can catch one of their games this week.
Hey, that's the baby Solana. Look at him.
Yeah, right. He's here. There he is.
Looks like the fourth generation's out here. Look at this.
That's it, man. He likes to participate.
Inter Miami got a lot of games to make up because of, they got Leagues Cup coming up, but because of the FIFA Club World Cup and the CONCACAF. Are we going to see Messi and those guys sitting a little bit more? You would think probably so, right?
I mean, I would hope so. Obviously, Javier Mascherano has mentioned in practice that, the guys feel good. He's going to play them. But you also have to look at the injuries, right? Right now, Inter Miami has a lot of injuries. They have Ian Frey, who is out. Noah Allen should be back in 1 to 3 weeks. Ian Frey was practicing. Gonzalo Lujan also was practicing. Yannick Bright, who's been stout in the midfield before his injury, is also practicing with the team again. I would love to see a little bit of movement, a little bit of recycle in terms of the team that Inter Miami puts out over the next couple of games. But with these injuries, it's kind of tough. Inter Miami doesn't have a backup 9. They have Alan Obando, who came in an operation over in the last transfer window where he was loaned out to Inter Miami for this year. We haven't seen him on the pitch that much this year. We've seen Suarez. A lot of folks are really, really upset and bothered with Suarez's play. Look, I think he's just a 39-year-old who's got old knees, and he's doing the best that he can. The one thing that I can say in his defense is that he hustles for every ball. Now, he's not as fino in Spanish as we say, with the ball. He hasn't been that great passing the ball. He hasn't been that great finishing, but he's hustling. And what he does is he does some really good runs. And we saw that in the Montreal game where he made a run and Messi had a clear path to the goal because Suarez took one of the defenders and Messi was able to score that goal. So although he's not scoring and assisting the ball, although he is still the team's leading assister, FYI, for those that didn't know, he is leading Inter Miami in assists. Messi is the leader in goal scorers. He has now tied Sam Surridge with 16 goals. He's going to win the MVP again, fellas. Messi is going to win the MVP, and I mean, he deserves it. He deserves it the way he's been playing.
Order of importance for cups that are coming up. It has to be MLS Cup number 1, Leagues Cup number 2, and then the Supporters Shield number 3, correct?
Absolutely, no doubt. Number one is the MLS Cup. That is the trophy that everybody wants to win. Although, if you only win it, I only think you get $2 million or $3 million. That's it. It's kind of funny when we've got a game going on today where the winner is going to make $125 million. The winner of the MLS Cup only makes $2 or $3 million. Although
they've already made, every time they win, they make more money than winning the MLS Cup.
FIFA Club World Cup,
So basically, with the amount of winnings that they won in the FIFA World Cup, they would have to win the MLS Cup something like 72 times in order to win the same amount of money that they won in the FIFA Club World Cup. So that's definitely number one. Leagues Cup is number two. Obviously, it's a big trophy where you're playing against Liga MX, who is essentially your rival league. And the cool thing this time is all the group games are going to be against Mexican teams. So Inter Miami will be playing 3 Mexican teams in the group stage, which is going to be very different than how it was in the last couple of years, where we faced basically MLS. The year that we won it, we only faced 1 Liga MX teams in Cruz Azul in the first game, and then we faced only MLS teams the rest of the way. So that's another little wrinkle that they have this year to the Club World Cup that I think is going to be interesting, and it's going to make it more enjoyable for fans to watch.
One last question: what's going on with his contract? Any update on the extension with his contract?
Yeah, he's signing. Don't worry about it, guys. He's going to resign. Don't worry. I think the more important question should be, is Rodrigo de Paul coming?
Oh,
and like we've said, look, Rodrigo de Paul is going to be coming to Inter Miami most likely this transfer window, and that's going to be monumental. We're not talking about another quality signing here, fellas. This is going to be the biggest signing the club has made since bringing Lionel Messi to Inter Miami. And to be honest, it's going to be the most important addition during the Messi era. DePaul is a proven warrior. He's a World Cup champion, and he's one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the game. His presence is going to help out immediately. It's going to strengthen the midfield, which is one of the areas of concern that the Inter Miami has had with, Sergio Busquets not playing up to the level that he played last year, with Federico Redondo now finally coming into his own. We've seen some flashes from Telasco Segovia scoring some goals, but really what Rodrigo de Paul is going to give this team is going to be second to none from any other player that you can bring in, other than maybe one of the top 5 or 6 center midfielders in the world. You're talking about a 31-year-old in his prime, and folks have come at me on social media saying a 31-year-old in his prime. Absolutely. In soccer, you can be 32, 33 and still be in your prime. It's not an age. It's not about your age. It's about the way that you're playing and the results that you're putting on the field. So once this deal gets done, it's going to be a clear sign that Inter Miami isn't just building a team. They're building an absolute powerhouse.
For years to come.
We'll see.
Okay, for years to come, we're hoping Miami is building. This is just the very beginning of being one of those worldwide brands for Inter Miami. Daniel Solana, always a worldwide brand on social media at Dice El Dani. You can check him out also on the Battered Herons podcast. Anything else going on in your life, Danny, that you want to talk about?
No, man, just enjoying the summer, playing a lot of golf, and enjoying my kid, and watching a lot of soccer. It's been a fantastic summer of soccer. I'm so sad that it's about to finish, but yeah, man, I'm really excited for today's game. I think, like I said, it's going to be PSG. And maybe one last thing I'd want to talk about. I definitely want to say something about these rules, right? I want to talk about the facts. The facts is, if MLS didn't have these absurd rules, like the salary cap, like the GAM, like the TAM, like the international slots, discovery rights, sometimes, like Neymar's discovery rights were held by the Chicago Fire. Like, what is that? What is that?
I discovered you. I own you.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's really ridiculous. The truth is, Don Garber and a group of the small thinking owners are holding this league back, and the league, the rules are outdated. The restrictions are preventing teams from building a real competitive squad, both for the global stage, like we saw in the Club World Cup, and to improve the quality of the league week in and week out, right? There's not a lot of games that you can watch week in and week out in the MLS and say, wow, that was a fantastic game. Most of the games are boring. It's just the truth, and it's because of the way that the teams are built. While the rest of the world is progressing and investing in making these, growing teams, the MLS is stuck in trying to force balance over ambition. This word of parity. And what happens? Our clubs fall short internationally. Fans are left frustrated watching the same cycle on repeat. And really, It's just not fair. This league belongs to the fans, guys. This league belongs to the fans. We need to open the market. We need to give teams the freedom to build and let the league grow and stop with these ridiculous rules.